Hey guys, Jim here. Just wanted to show you something I was working on. I've been struggling with. I want to say working on, but it's more of a struggle. This is a 1996 Van Diemen Formula Continental. It's a vintage race car, tube chassis. It's custom built, purpose built for racing. It's powered in the back here by just a little Dodge Neon 4-cylinder engine. So it's a right up pretty much stock Dodge 4-cylinder engine out of a Dodge Neon. And it's hooked up to a transaxle back there that basically there's really no drive shaft. You can see how the gearbox is right there. The gearbox and transmission are right there on the axle, right out of the motor. So that gives it a lot of power and torque. The car weighs about 1,100 pounds without a driver in it, and 170 horsepower motor. And so it is very fast. It's just really like a big, fast go-kart, probably about 125 miles an hour down the straightaway. It's a lot of fun to drive. You're basically sitting on the ground. The seat's out of it right now because I'm doing some work. I needed to get to the battery and stuff, but that's kind of what it looks like from in there. So show you what I'm working on. Basically what happened was I had a problem with the starter, and I thought it was the push button starter, and that wasn't it. I'm going to show you how to test the starter button later in another video. And basically what I found out was I had a short somewhere in all these wires that come back out from the cockpit down into the starter. So if you could see in here, I kind of basically spliced another wire, this red wire, right in here to the starter wire, and came back up with it. And this red wire will be my new starter button wire. And before you start it, all race cars have this off switch here, so that way if you get in an accident or anything, the safety crew can come off and turn the electric off. So when they pull this off, that's off. This E you'll see on all race cars, that's emergency. And that means behind here is a button, a red button you'll see in there. And that's if the car starts on fire. If you don't push the button first, when the emergency workers get there, they push that button, and there's a fire suppression system in the motor and in the cockpit that'll put the fire out. So that's what that is. So what you do here is you just turn this on, you turn the electric on, turning that on, and I'll show you what I mean with the starter. Here's how I knew the starter was good, or the wire or the button was good actually, and the wire was bad. When I ran this wire through, I'll just do a little quick test here and I'll put it on the positive. You'll hear the starter crank over. All right, so that's all good. Well, the good news is the starter was cranking over and I could not get the car to start. So I knew I had another problem. I knew I had fuel's in it. I had fuel going in it. Assumed fuel was going in. So the first thing I checked was the spark. So I put a spark plug tester here, and I can't do them both at the same time in the video, but basically what I did when I started that is that there was no, there should be a light that goes on in here that says at the spark plug that it's getting spark. So I tested all the plugs, I had no spark. So that tells me one of two things. Either there's something wrong with the wiring from the front to the back in here, and I've got to dig into that. It's called just an electrical demon. Or this thing right here, which is the coil. There's something wrong with the coil, right? So I'm gonna start with the coil first because it was easiest to get to. So I've got all my things marked here, and I'm gonna take this coil off and bring it over to the bench, and I'm gonna show you how to test the coil for resistance to see if it's the coil's the issue. If the coil's the issue, it's an easy fix. Get a new one, bolt it on there, plug it in, and we're up and running. So I'll be back with another video on that shortly.